In this video, we are going to unbox the Nintendo Switch 2. So let's get started. It is Switch 2 launch day. A lot of Nintendo fans are super excited to get their hands on a new device. The Nintendo Switch, the OG one, came out I think over 8 years ago now. I think it was like 2017. So it's been a little while since we've had a new system. So a lot of people are super excited about this one. And I was lucky enough to get a hold of one this morning at Target. It was actually super easy to get one. Showed up about 20 minutes before, not too long of a line. I think a lot of the hardcore people got out there at midnight or pre-ordered already online. So we got our Target bag right here. Now, I gotta give a shout out to Target. They came through with some swag as well. So they gave me a little bag here with the Joy-Con controllers. We got a Bowser keychain with the Target logo on the back. Has that Target smell to it still. And then not one, but two sets of stickers. The lady found out I had 2 kids, so she gave me 2 sets of stickers. Pretty nice for them to give away some free stuff for people investing $1,000 on a game console. They also caught me with the add-ons, so they had these on sale as well. And then lastly, we got some Target stickers as well, I guess. But you guys are not here for all the free junk that Target gave me. You are here for this guy right here. So right here, we got the Switch 2. I picked up the bundle, so this comes with Mario Kart inside. I actually have not been to a system launch since the Nintendo Wii. So I remember in 2006, showing up with some friends to our local Walmart at midnight and waiting a few hours before that came out. Very different times. I probably had to work about 30 hours at McDonald's to pay that off, whereas I was able to buy this with probably like a half day of work. So things have definitely changed in my life, but also back then I had a lot of time to play video games, whereas I'm gonna open this up and probably get to play it maybe an hour every other night. So times have definitely changed, but let's get this thing open. So we got our instructions right here on how to use things. Open this up right here, and our Joy-Cons, and I think that's the dock. Or is that, no, that's a tablet itself. That's pretty big. So you can see here, definitely look a lot different than the original ones. I think they're bigger too. It definitely feels bigger in the hands. These buttons are definitely bigger than the first one. So we got our blue, and we got our red. Now, if I understand right, once you plug these in, you actually hide these colors. So I'm curious if they're gonna do much customization this go around. That was one of the cool things about the original Switch is you could pretty much find every color you can think of and mix and match them. So next we have the tablet itself. Yeah, this is definitely a big boy. He's been going to McDonald's a few days a week. But it's actually still pretty thin. It's just taller, I think. Taller and maybe wider, but it still feels just as thin. So we got the kickstand, definitely a different kind of kickstand. I can do like they do in the promo video where it jumps itself up. Let's see here. So we got game card slot right here. Headphone jack, USB-C, fan, volume, power, Joy-Cons. That's cool. The sides are colored as well, which is kind of a cool touch. Another USB-C on the bottom. I don't think it has regular USB, right? So what really like the biggest curiosity I have, which is only like a videographer would have this curiosity. So if you don't know, they have added camera support. So some games support camera support now where you'll be driving in Mario Kart and it'll show your camera in real time as you're driving around. I'm curious if we can hook up like a Sony mirrorless camera to this and use that as your camera. Because I'm sure the camera that Nintendo is going to provide is probably like 720p, very low quality. So I would like to see if we can hook up our camera. So when we're playing games, we're using, like a 50 millimeter lens at like f1.8. So let's get that out of the way for right now. What do we got in here? So there is the code. I'm glad they left that covered up because otherwise someone would have just stolen my copy right now. So we got our copy of Mario Kart World. Leave in the comments who you plan to main in Mario Kart World. I am definitely going to be playing as Cal. We got our HDMI cable, which I think is now supporting a 4K. I don't know what they changed with the HDMI cable. Oh, these look weird. So these definitely look different than the original ones. So the original ones were kind of just like a black slab, whereas This, I'm afraid, you know, the first time I got my Switch, I popped them on backwards and I had to use like a knife to get them off. So maybe I should not do this yet. We got our blue one. It's not as kitty as the original one. Look. So then we got our Joy-Con grip right here. If I understand right, this is all magnet based now. So they just, yeah, whoa, that's kind of cool. It's like some Magmod gear right here. So they just kind of snap on like magnets, and then let's see, does it come apart? Seems pretty sturdy. And then they just pop off. That's pretty nice. I like the magnet touch. I hope that doesn't like wear out. I don't think it would. A lot of things have magnets now, so it's actually kind of funny to me. I feel like 10 years ago they told us to keep technology away from magnets, and now they put magnets on technology. So we got our USB-C here. So the power cable is actually different. If I remember right, the original Switch is just a big power block, whereas this is kind of like a universal power supply right here. And then you have a universal USB-C to USB-C. So that's nice. I don't know if that means you could use any power supply or if you still got to use this, but that means I could use that for other things, which is pretty cool. And then we have our dock, which I think is the last thing we have here. So this definitely looks different. There's some ventilation going on the bottom, which is probably good to have when you're doing 4K 60 with a game console. Looks like we open this up, and I already broke it. We have AC adapter, HDMI, and LAN. That's nice that they included the LAN. I think the original Switch did not have the Ethernet support, and they added it later with the OLED. So very nice that, that they have that all in there. So whenever you're playing online, you can't complain about lag anymore because you're connected to Ethernet. So we'll put that back on there. So then this guy, we'll get this box out of the way. If you want one last look, here we go. And it's gone. We have then the Switch, so we'll just pop this in here like the toaster that it is. I feel like this sticks out more, but maybe it's about the same. And then let's try attaching these. We haven't done that yet, so very cool. Very different than the original one. And then just fits in there like that. Definitely much bigger. Well, maybe not that much bigger, but it definitely, like from back here, it looks like it's taking up a lot more real estate. I think the dock is actually smaller though. It's kind of like a sleeker design to it, though on the back it is a little chunky in the back. There's some USB ports on the side, like this one has. And I wonder if, I don't think it supports it, but technically, does it fit in there? Actually, I don't think it fits. The joysticks are kind of in the way. Does this one fit? No, it definitely does not fit. So I don't think they're interchangeable. I could take the switches out here too, so you can kind of see them side by side. So thickness-wise, it really doesn't feel much different, but you definitely can see the size difference when you kind of put them like this. This thing, it's actually funny, look at this. It looks so tiny, like the buttons and everything. I always thought it was like a pretty big size controller handheld, but when you compare it to this, the buttons look like so tiny and the joysticks look tiny in the screen, so it definitely is a larger improvement there. So we don't really need this anymore, so we can throw this out. And let's go ahead and power this up. So as it's booting up, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you grabbed the Switch 2? If you did grab one, let me know how your experience was. Like I said, it was pretty easy for me. I just kind of showed up to Target a few minutes before they opened, got in line. I think they had almost like 50 of the bundle, and they had like another like 40 of the non-bundle version. Love to hear your experience. If you haven't gotten a Switch 2 yet, or you're not planning on getting one, I'd love to hear what game would make you want to buy it. But I love the little elevator music they got going on here. Gives me a little bit of Wii Shop channel music as you're setting up your Switch. Someone's Wi-Fi here is hot oatmeal. So if you're ever in Hoffman Estates and you need Wi-Fi, you now have access to Wi-Fi because I just shared the Wi-Fi password with the world. So first thing it's got to do is download an update. It looks like we are in Central Time. With the Switch 2, you can play games wherever you want, however you want. The system can stand. Okay, so it's giving me a little tutorial here, which is nice. So it's teaching me how to pop these off. I really like the magnet. It feels really nice. If you don't remember, let me kind of show you how this one was. So you had to push this button back here. You kind of slid it off of a rail. And it always kind of felt like they were going to fall off. Whereas I actually thought this was going to have more of that problem, but these magnets are on there tight. Like, this feels like a solid device. Like, you actually probably wouldn't really know that it splits apart if you didn't know it was a switch. All right, so asking if we want to connect to the TV. We will not do that right now. You can use your accessories that came with the system to hold the Joy-Con in different ways. Now it's telling me how to use Joy-Con grip, how to use those things. Okay, we got all this. Ready to update system. So it's going to be updating the system. So as it's updating, let's go ahead and look at some of these buttons here. So as I kind of gave you a tour of all the top and the bottom, but we do have some new buttons on the front here too. So we got our A, B, Y, X, plus, minus, all that stuff. But there's now the new C button, which is for the chat feature. So this might take a while. I'm going to skip this so we can kind of take a look at everything else. So we have new icons. They did not have all these icons on the original Switch. So if you want a quick tour of all the icons, here you go. Chris, who should I pick for my icon? Oh, they got Pokemon on here now too.
Diddy.
Diddy? Is he even on here? They might have took him off. Did they take him off? Maybe they didn't even have Diddy to begin with. There is no Diddy Kong on here. One man has ruined a character's reputation forever. We'll do Donkey Kong because he's got that new goofy look. We'll do Blue. Why not? Doesn't matter because I'm going to eventually log in. We're going to skip this. We're going to skip that. Oh, yeah, this is the new thing. So you need express cards, micro SD express cards now. You can't use regular ones. So let's give you a little tour of the home page here. Got our snap. That was a pretty good snap. So still some music. I like the little addition of music during stuff. Got some cute little sounds here. I wonder, I don't know if it's going to lock. So I don't know if you know this, a little pro tip with the original Switch. I didn't discover this till 7 years of having the system. If you unlocked your system with different buttons, it made different types of sounds. So little fun fact, try that out. Maybe they did the same here. So I was working here, games will go here. I don't have anything other than the digital code for Mario Kart, which I'll need to download. We got our Switch Online, Game Chat, News, eShop, Album, Game Share, controllers, virtual game cards, system settings, and sleep mode. So pretty much looks the same. Looks like groups. One thing I wish they would add is like more of a solid folder structure because once you start getting a lot of games, it gets kind of messy on here. Have the system. If you don't have the system and you have more questions about the system, drop them in the comments below and I'll play around with it. But I'm excited to play around with this. Probably won't get a lot of time to actually play it, but it's cool to have, and it's very exciting to have a Nintendo system that does 4K 60. All right, so we're gonna try this out, like I said I would. So we got our A7 IV here, which if you don't know, the A7 IV has built-in webcam features. So unlike a lot of other mirrorless DSLR cameras where you need like an Elgato or a capture card, this has the software built in. So what I normally do is when I'm doing a Zoom call, I just plug in my camera via USB to my computer, and now it's a webcam. So I'm wondering if we plug this in. So we plug that in, and if you look here, we have it plugged in right now to the Switch. So now using USB-C mic, that's a good sign. Test USB-C camera. No camera connected. But it did say mic. So if, as you see here, it's registering my A7 IV, as a USB-C mic. Now, can I use it as the camera as well? That is what I'm wondering. So we just did the test, and sadly it was not working. I will say it seemed like it was registering the microphone, so we were able to use our camera's microphone, but it was not showing any video. Now, have I set up everything properly? I don't know, so I'm gonna try it again at home. But as of now, it seems like if you plug in a more professional camera like a Sony a7 IV, you cannot use it as a camera in the game. But we'll try again and we'll see what happens. If you got a professional camera to work, let me know in the comments below. So thanks for checking out this video. Hopefully this was informative, and if you don't have a Switch yet, hopefully this is a good little taste of what you'll be getting when you open the box. And if you do have one, hopefully you learned a few things that maybe you didn't know when you opened your Switch up. Until next time, we'll see ya.